I think one of the biggest things to recognize here is that drones have changed the way cinema can be produced now, and television can be produced. This is something that normally would have cost a lot of money, but it's something where you've just got a drone doing this, and a drone is just following them along, and they're able to do that at a fraction of the cost of what it used to be. Welcome to the Fanatics of Film, and this is Ozark, Season 2, Episode 3 review. And then we have our symbols, so we're going to quickly talk about those. So we have a burning boat, which is, of course, what we're going to see here a little bit, and I'm not sure what that is. And then we've got a fork with some lettuce and a deer. So once again, this season does not cease to amaze me. So one of the biggest things here is that Wendy comes in and is trying to get Wilkes in to help her with the finalization of this bill, get this bill passed, and get everybody to vote correctly. And he is just accidentally proposes his new thing, and basically just saying that it's going through, but you basically are going to have to do what I say. So she's getting a taste of a little bit of being strong-armed herself a little bit. So she, it's always push and shove and this and that. So we have Ruth and her dad. Her dad being, once again, it's seeing these little bits and pieces and moments of likable traits in the villains. And that's one of the biggest things, I think, one of the biggest strong points about this series is that you see someone who you'd normally not get along with or not like or not at all, just not jive with at all. And you end up you end up at least caring somewhat for him because he's apologizing, and Ruth ends up smiling at the end because she sees that there's still some good in him and some he apologizes for laying the hands on, and even though he actually brings up the house to her and she says, "Oh, it's not for us, never mind." So Ruth's dad is trying to get him to get Marty to give him money, and this is without having to work for it. So because she saved your life by killing her own uncles. Well, no, that's if her uncles were going to kill him in the first place, that's not something that's anyway. So here we are in the FBI, or at least looks like the FBI FBI are just kind of going through the motions here, figuring out best ways to do it. And she's just basically, the head of FBI is telling him, that to do better next time and to do better than you've been doing, type of thing. And even though he has been bent,
I don't know, he just did.
Well, how did you explain killing his brothers?
I told him the truth. I thought Russ was a fucking rat.
Okay, so that's the big thing here, is that one of the biggest reveals from this scene is that Marty is finally realizing that that there is somebody onto them, and that's kind of a big story point here. You could have told me, type of thing, and she's like, he's dead, but whoever's around could still be around. Whoever was watching Russ and Boyd. Anyway, so they move. This is something that kind of they jump away from it pretty quickly, but interesting stuff nonetheless. I find this scene to be really kind of bizarre because, and I think maybe they'll reveal this later, but he's taking photos of this car for some reason. I don't know why he's doing so. It's kind of interesting. And then he asks about Rachel. Doesn't know where Rachel is. Blah blah blah. So, of course, Ruth ends up doing her diligence to create her own better situation. She is grabbing life by the horns and starting to create her own life and be better and do better than she was. She knows that she can because she has possibility now. She has she has a lot of planning to do, and plans to do things the way her dad does, apparently. So, and then of course this is the interesting moment where they end up in hunting together.
There's a middle ground.
This is an interesting moment too, because you see Snell finally on Marty's side. He's finally kind of protecting Marty a little bit. He's like, well, if you're not going to do it, then I will. If you're not going to follow through on this, then I will. And he's not willing to. They're not willing to bend or break. You know, these two are, Darlene and Jacob Snell, are just kind of crazy people. And so that is definitely realized in this season, where we finally really, well, they've always been so, but of course this is the moment where Darlene does see, she finds out that, you know, you lost a kid, and she sees that in her palm readings.
Okay, don't feel any pressure.
Yeah, so I don't know, just everybody's different. Everybody grows up in a different situation. I mean, I only went on a hunt once, and it was no big deal. I get it. It's kind of weird to be doing when you're a young kid like that, because I was young too. But you know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you can't hack the hunting, then don't eat meat, type of thing. So that's just a lot of people said that. So. And of course, then they put the blood on Jonah's face, like he's playing football, or no, or maybe just you know.
You're supposed to be writing your essay.
It's in my head.
And here we see, of course, the slow decline of Wyatt Langmore, the slow decline of him getting older and getting less involved, more aloof with everything. I was the same way. And when you get older like that, you get into your, you know, he's 16, 17, whatever, he's getting less and less interested in academics and getting more interested in partying and having fun, even though he's a really smart guy. Rachel show up, and even though you know, she had stolen from him, she's still just horrible to him. And I get it. I mean, he kind of did ruin her life in a lot of respects, and she called it. She said that he would. When they first met, I remember her saying that from the very first time when they first met. She said, "Don't blow this," type of thing. And he said, "Don't worry, it'll be fine." And it ended up just tanking everything. So obviously our big overarching story here, at least in season 3 so far that I'm seeing, is that we have our FBI people shutting things down and basically saying that all these properties are out of code to get him to help get Marty to ask for Rachel's help and bringing him. So they're getting him to reach out to her. Now this is an interesting scene, because this is, once again, this is where we find Jonah, his own morals being jostled back and forth because of what is happening to him, and how all the things that he's been through, and how he's had to step up in bravery. His bravery has been compromised. Everything about him has been compromised. He's running his own business by writing papers for other kids at school to give them A's and better grades. And on top of that, but anyway, he's basically saying here that he's just, you know, would you have stopped me? Do you think I'm a murderer?
Do you follow me as a murderer?
No. I would have thanked you for your unbelievable bravery.
Mind if I stay up a little longer?
Can I sit up with you?
That's really heartbreaking stuff. heartbreaking stuff with what Jonah's going through. I am thoroughly intrigued by Jonah's story. His whole involvement with this is really, really interesting in what he's doing. So anyway, here we are by the end of, the middle of this episode. He's decided that he, because of, once again, story points popping up from the end of season 1, we see this story popping up here, and we have some great things happen. Even though Jonah did not like the name that he was given. I remember him specifically saying, "What if they call me,
Mom sounds nice.
It's the weekend.
Do you have a passport?
Yeah.
And what name do you want the account under?
Mine. Michael Fleming.
And so that's really interesting too, because of just the simple fact that he had said, what if they call me Flem? What if they, he hated the name. And so, what a 12-year-old would normally do. I don't want them to have that name type of thing. So, and then of course, Wendy doing her due diligence to just go around and wreak havoc on the local community, even though she's at someone else's funeral. And of course, once again, our lovely, lovely Ruth, who I adore. I think she is the greatest part of this season so far. Being the crazy ass criminal once again. So, that she is, being her crazy self that she is, and kind of making it a big challenge for me to stay on board with her, because we saw that she was trying to be good, and she was, but now she's just kind of she wants to take care of her family, and that's fine, that's good, but I think that's just this whole show is boiling down to. She's winning over, and she's going to get what she wants because she wrecked the boats on the man's boat rental place. I guess the funeral's finally ending here, and she got to start the foundation with $2 million, or I think it was $1 million or $2 million, and he's going to do half. Wilkes is going to pay for half of it. He's interesting stuff here with Rachel and what she's going through. She just, hopefully, Petty will wean her off of it and not just keep her under but knowing him, that's what he'll do. He'll keep her addicted, and he says the same thing that his FBI lieutenant had told him, you're not do better than you've been doing type of thing. So that's very crazy. And then of course, the very ending of this episode, we find Marty, Wendy, and the Snells having their dinner together. And so once again, this is kind of a moment where it becomes a little bit darker. We have Wyatt just wrote his essay about how, and I think it's a college, or trying to get into college, and he's just basically talking about how he's cursed and doesn't deserve anything. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you loving this season? I sure am. It is extraordinary. I hope you're loving it as much as I am. Thanks for joining me, and have a fantastic day.